everyone. Welcome to Tech Down Over. I'm Rick Zanotti, and we are streaming live right now on Facebook, something that we just started doing. Today, we're not going live on YouTube, only because we haven't tried both at once, and we don't want the world to collapse and the universe to just demolish itself in case we really screwed up. So here we are. We should be having a good time, and we're joined today by my good friend and co-host, Jeff Blanchard, coming from the land down under. How are you today, Jeff?
Good, thanks. And when I'm just next to you there, all I am is just a big head then. It's a bit better in this shot.
Is he too big on that other shot?
We're always bigger and better down here in Australia, you see.
That's true. That's true. But anyway, we probably shouldn't do that now. So anyway, well, here we are. We now started doing our live streaming on Facebook. We've only been on Facebook seriously for about a week, and we're noticing we get more views on Facebook than we're getting on YouTube initially. And we're having fun. It's a lot more engaging. Next week, we're going to have a couple of iPads ready, and we can do, or even vMix Live, and we'll have audience work with us, engage with us, or we'll engage with the audience. So it should be fun to have people involved and just getting part of the show like we used to do way back when, remember?
I remember, yes, because we used to, we started Elaine Chat, used to get up and chat in the chat room, and then Gina with their show, your show, Gina's.
And it was fun. It was fun having the engagement. And especially when you have more than one person in the show, because if it's only one, it's kind of hard to keep track of everything when you're switching and doing this and solving problems as they come. So we're pretty good. We had a change in our lighting today. If you notice, I'm a little bit more normal, human-like, rather than very jaundiced looking. And so we switched to the COB, the Aperture COB 120D for daylight, with the large, what do you call these?
The light dome.
It's the light dome. It's the big light dome, and
it looks much better, much smoother. And
it does. It looks more human, because I was really looking jaundiced, and frankly, I don't drink. I don't have anything to get jaundiced about. Probably not enough sun, but that's because it's been cold in this winter for Southern California. And Harold, on the other hand, we were joking earlier, like he became white and I became jaundiced. It was really just rather odd.
Yeah, because the webcam that I'm on was making me pinkish, like, a lot lighter and more pinkish. And the lights and stuff that he was on were making him more yellow.
Yeah, so we had a little race change as we went. It's just, what can I say?
That's one thing we should try, Rick. You should say we should have the webcams. You have a Panasonic. I have a Canon.
And the big webcams, yes. Actually, you know what I'm shooting on right now? I'm shooting on the Canon XF405.
Oh, you are?
So this is the XF405. He's on the Logitech C922. He's on a real webcam, but it's a good quality webcam. And it makes for pretty good video. So here we are. So shall we run our intro?
Yeah.
Here we go. And we are back from that little brief interlude into the beach. It was fun.
I just love that intro. Just seeing you with your camera and me with the microphone. Carol did such a good job on that. I just really like to see that every time.
We need a new intro. The other one was good. We just wanted something different for a while. So, and anyway, well, there's been a lot of talk the last 2 weeks. And if you think about the camera world, Sony, I would say, really took the thunder away from Panasonic, from Canon completely. With that A7 III or A7, they don't call it Mark III, it's really A7 III. They have really taken over for $2,000 a camera that is full frame, has a lot of good features, great 4K video, great 1080p video, really good sensor, 25 megapixel sensor, which can shoot 10 frames a second, which is more than enough for most applications. And $2,000. Did I say $2,000? 2,000? Yeah. That's not bad. Has the same autofocus system as the A9, which is awesome. Now, and you can't even say, oh, it's almost as good. No, it's as good. It's the same 693 focus points camera. It is fast autofocus. It's slightly detuned on the A9, but it's on the the A7 III, but it's still very, very fast. And I was watching. I don't know if you guys seen it. There's Hugh Brownstone did his video yesterday as he got back from Las Vegas and the desert and everything else. And I feel so sorry for you, Hugh. If you are watching the show, it is amazing you survived that helicopter ride. You look like death warmed over at one point. They had a shot of you. He was just terrified. And I think I would have been terrified too. It's a wide open frame. The helicopter was a frame. There's no windows. There's no real ceiling, nothing. Everything on you had to be buckled down tight. Everything. I'm sure his glasses were strapped on. He lost because everything will otherwise go flying into the propellers.
And he said something did. I think he said he had a neutral density filter in his pocket, and it actually got sucked out and went right in there.
And he's lucky it wasn't that cinema lens he had. Everything goes in. He said when he leaned out the frame, and he almost lost the lens hood as it started going kind of up into everything wants to go into the rotors. It's like a big vortex. Just pulls it right in, including humans. So they have like 4 seatbelts on to strap them down every which way. And then he was showing, and then, the video filming was good, but you know what? It really didn't matter how well the camera is balanced and how much noise reduction it can do, vibration control. It shook the living daylights out of the camera. You're in the copter going, da, 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 da. It was amazing. And then they got into these really cool looking doom buggies where they strap your hands into the steering wheel if you're driving. So if anything happens, you don't get hurt. So you're basically a prisoner of that car. You're again strapped in many ways. And he took some incredible film of that. It looked like some sort of a space age race movie, what they were doing. And he had a lot of good, by the way, guys, go to Hugh Brownstone, go to his YouTube channel. He's got some great videos there, but his last one's really interesting when he talks about really the impressions of shooting under those kind of conditions and what really matters. At one point, he said the GH5, which his wife was holding, was doing a much better job. It just held. The balance was better. The IBIS was balanced, the image stabilization, and that focus wasn't better. But on the whole, it had a better feeling with what it was doing. Until, of course, you wanted more dynamic range or actually focus. Then it wasn't so good. But he said the A7 III struggled a bit on some of it because of the movement was pretty just fantastic. But it did take some pretty good shots, too, including video and pictures. So it is amazing when you put a camera into extreme conditions, what comes out of it, and some of the results he had. But I don't know if you've seen that one, Jeff. Have you seen it yet?
Well, I haven't. I've been looking at a lot of them. If you just put that out last night, I might not have seen that one. But I've seeing everybody else who seems to be on those helicopters, and I saw a brief shot of Hugh in the helicopter, not making much movement anyway.
I think that's when he was ready to throw up. He looked like.
I was so impressed because, like you said, the GH5 still wins for the stabilization, but I saw the A7 III with them filming on it, and with the amount of shaking and rattling that's going on in a helicopter, it still did acceptable video. It was, just like if you was in an automobile driving along on the little bit of vibration you get on that's the sort of thing it was getting. But there's quite a lot more vibration in that helicopter.
Yeah, it's not a helicopter that carries passengers comfortably from one location to another. These are like hot rods. They go out in the desert. They're wide open. You've got winds coming at you from every direction. They're not gentle. They kind of beat you up.
And what I loved on there as well, one of the video I was watching, the video quality was excellent, but the still shots they were showing out of there, and they were excellent. But the thing was, they were shooting through the shielding, the perspex or whatever, the glass on the helicopter. And so, and I thought, no matter how clean you try to make these things, it still is getting in the way, but it still did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And as we've said before, they said the GH5 did the better stabilization, but you win some with one brand and you lose some.
And
but
you
I
lose
think
it with the other.
Wins with the A7 3, and that's, by the way, I heard you saying about the Mark III. Sony said no, it's the 3.
It's a
not
3.
The Mark.
Yep. It's A7 III with 3 eyes, or basically 3 uppercase eyes. Or Roman numerals. They're not using.
What I like about it's much easier to say A7 III than R3, S3, and remember which one it is.
Right, and of course everybody's confused between the A7 R3 and the A7 III.
Yes, and
good marketing, Sony. Good marketing, Sony. I think they kind of blew that one. Sony just kind of got confused. They lost track. Is that A7R3 or A7R3? I don't know. Let's call it A7 III and R3.
Well, I mean, they could have messed it up and called it the A8.
The A8. That would have been perfect. Yeah. This is the A8-1.
The 9's the next one, isn't it? So
that's right. Well, I like I still remember the Canon 80D, which when people say fast is the Canon ADD.
ADD.
It's our attention deficit disorder camera, and it's just like, it was an awful name, ADD. Nobody pronounced that back in marketing land. Hey, marketing guys, how did you call this? We got a bit together and we called that ADD.
What did it stand for?
ADD.
Huh.
No. It just they had a 70D before, so they called it the ADD. No real reason.
Oh, the 8, yeah, like the
80,
number, yeah.
80. But see, everybody says it fast. It's ADD.
Yep.
I just got the brand new ADD. What are we talking about?
With the Sony A7 III, I've seen a price now, at least for here, and here it will be going for about $2,999.
That's not bad.
Well, that's not bad considering I see in England it's selling for £1,990, which is probably about $2,600.
600.
I mean, about $3,600.
Well, you could spend about another $1,000 or $2 to go to England, buy it there, and bring it back. Then you'll save nothing.
I think it'd be dear in England.
I know.
Pounds and that when the conversion, but it's only about $300 when you do the exchange rate. Different than America, really.
But I want to show you this so you could see the difference in sizes.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the A7R Mark III, or A7R3, and this is the A6500. The A7 III is the same size and body as this, and I do have the battery grip on, so it is a little bit bigger. And then compare that to, compare that right about there to the A6500. Not that big a difference, but you could tell. And the weight is twice as much on this one. It's a lot bigger. This one has the big Z batteries, which give you about 4 hours of time each. This one has the little piece of junk batteries that give you probably a little over an hour, maybe an hour and a half with luck. But with the battery grip, at least you get 2 in here. What I find interesting is to get the batteries out of the battery grip requires a master's in battery gripness, because they are hard to get out sometimes. You just have to finagle it and pull and push, and then they come out easily. But to get them going is not that easy. But very nice cameras. And I'll tell you, the A6, I'm debating, we're going to be gone for a week on vacation. Which camera to take? Should I take the A7 III or R3, or should I take the A6500? And I'm actually tempted to take the A6500 because it's so much lighter. It uses the same exact lenses. I've got a 30 millimeter Sigma on this right now. It's a beautiful lens. It shoots perfectly. And on this one right now, this is the lens I was telling you might be a good one to get. This is the, I think it's 18-105. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the one.
18-105. Now this one has a little lever right there. I don't know if you can see that, up and down.
Yes.
That is your zoom. So it's got an automatic zoom. It doesn't telescope out. It just moves the lenses inside. And it is really quiet. You can barely tell it's on, and you can zoom very quickly one way or the other and just get very nice shots.
And the zoom is very smooth on that one.
It is smooth. It is actually pretty smooth. You can go halfway. It doesn't have dampening, though. So it's kind of not like the webcam or the camcorders where you can dampen a little bit. This doesn't have that at this point. It just goes one speed one way or another, but it's smooth. It's very smooth, very quiet. And the camera, even though it's not super small, it's about the size and weight of a GH5 or a Fuji. It feels about the same. And the ergonomics are not bad on this. It's got a little less dials than the other one do, but they're pretty easy to use. Not a heck of a lot of difference. So I'm on the A7 III right now, A7R3. But very nice camera. 42 megapixel sensor. And that's why I've been thinking of just taking the small one, just to take quick shots, take one, probably that other zoom, the 18 to 105, and maybe a lens like this, and I'm done. I've got everything covered, and because on vacation, I don't want to take 100 tons of gear. It just gets heavy, cumbersome, and you get sweaty. It's not fun.
And even when you do take a lot of gear, even if you can afford to take it, you tend not to use it, and then you feel guilty.
Right.
Why did I trade that?
Yeah.
All,
well, I know now. I know a secret about Jeff. When he travels, he's got a whole. He's like Gilligan on Gilligan's Island. You know, it's a 3-hour cruise, and he's got 2 big bags, and one of them is all gear.
That's what I want.
You do travel with gear.
Yeah. I'm not going to anymore. I'm going to do it a little bit less because, years, not that long ago, where you did have to have a video camera, a good still camera, and something else. So you had bits and pieces, and that was when I first had the Canon 60D.
Yeah.
Then I thought, needed the video camera for better video, so I bought the Canon video camera as well with me. So you have both of them, whereas now the technology and the cameras like that A7 III with the video quality it does, there's no point having a dedicated video camera.
No.
Unless you're not going to do anything more than the 29 minutes. All I'm just waiting to see is the physical feel of the camera, because I know it's the same as the A7R Mark III, but it's made of a lighter plastic rather than the heavier thing that the A7R3, that's got a bit
magnesium
more
alloy. I think this one's mostly magnesium. It may have some plastic, I think, on the back, but it's a good weight. I think it's not going to be as heavy as this one, but it might be. Once you add the battery grip, it's all over. But just to show you, this looks like a pretty big camera right here, right? And then when you take off the battery, not that big. Now my hand's underneath it. And my hands are fairly large. So to me now this is small. And this is the A7R3. It's pretty small like this because it just doesn't have a lot of feel to it. Once I put it on the battery grip, which goes into the battery, this one goes in the battery compartment. If I can get it in without breaking it. Get my hand stuck in it. And once you get it in, which I'm not doing very well. That's why once you have it in, you never take it out. There we go. And you just tighten it up. So I've got it in, tighten it up. And this is an interesting battery grip because you have to turn it on first. So you won't waste the battery until you turn that one on. So, and that of course, I'm showing you the wrong one. This is the A7. This is the A7R3. This one you don't turn on. The other one I have, the one for the 6500, you have to turn on. And again, the 6500 without the battery grip, take a look at this one. So with battery grip.
And that's the one for me, the 6500, I know you like your battery grips, but to me, you shouldn't have that with the 6500 because it's meant for a little smaller one to take to be a bit more
but I love having a grip. I have big hands, and without this, I feel really uncomfortable.
You've only got 2 fingers on that thing because there's not as much space.
Yeah, that's true. But I like it with the grip. Now I feel like I've got a really good size camera. So I think it just depends. I mean, I'm not that big, but at 6'2" and a fairly large hand, it makes a difference.
Sasquatch holding a camera.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you hold something like a Canon M5 and you're like, hey, let me get my hand. And your hands is like this big around it. It's like, not comfortable. So yeah, this feels really good in the hand with the grip. Now it feels more like a GH5. So the ergonomics get pretty good with the battery grip. I don't mind the button placement on the. People complain about the ergonomics of buttons. I don't mind that too much. I have complained that the icons and the things that they're using, the text on screen is really small. And even with glasses on, I have a little bit of time struggling with some of the way they did it. Because let's say, for example, you bring up your ISO, like I showed you earlier, and you bring up the ISO and it's on the left-hand side of the screen, very small. It's like 4-point font. It's hard to read, especially if you have a white image on it, because now it changes the color of the fonts, but it's not thick. It's a thin font, and you're just going, oh gosh. And if you're in the sunlight, good luck. You won't be able to read it at all. So this is just stuff that Ergonomics would be better. And I guess they assume you're going to be having a monitor, but then you're adding a whole monitor thing to this. It gets complicated and confusing. So you definitely.
Well, didn't they say with the like the A7 III, it's got the same electronic viewfinder as the 6500? Is that correct?
A7 III. I think it is the same viewfinder. Yeah.
The A7R III has got an extra million dots or something on it, which is far better.
It's 3.6 million versus I think 2.6, something like that.
And they said, some people are saying, oh, it hasn't got as much, but then others say, yeah, but it's still damn good. You can still focus from it.
Oh, sure.
It just looks better. The other one, yes, definitely with the extra clarity, but with the less ones, it's not going to say, well, you can't see anything on it. But
right, it's just not as quite not as bright.
That's right, but I'm looking forward to having a go, because I think this is the one I'll end up going for, because it is a full frame, so it gives me something different that I've never had before.
Right.
I actually pulled out the old Canon 60D last weekend and took that out, and I'm amazed that still does damn good pictures, just still pictures.
They're not bad, but you don't have the, what is it, 12 megapixel?
Yeah, it's 18. 18, I
okay.
think it is.
Okay.
I think it's 18.
And you're right, it does take good pictures. Video's a little primitive, but pictures were... I had the 60D too. I hated the video on it because it just never came out that well. But the pictures were nice. You could get good color. You get the color science from Canon, and it wasn't bad at all.
Well, the 60D, the thing with the video on that, it's excellent video if you've got a cameraman, because you had to manually set it up. And if you did the focus, it wouldn't focus once you started recording, so you couldn't move.
That's right.
So have somebody,
and that was pre-dual pixel autofocus.
And I had a chair set up with, and I put a big teddy bear on the chair to focus in on it, because I wanted to do something with that 60D, and I tried. It still never worked out good. So I gave up on that for video and thought it's a stills camera.
Yep.
And I've got to take that back into the shop, because it's great pictures, but there's so much dust and like droplets on the sensor.
Yeah.
You know, when you get it properly cleaned, you can see it on a blue sky. You can see all the if you blow out the exposure, you can see all the marks of all the dust from the years of using, changing the lenses and that. So. But it's still a workable camera. I'm not going to get rid of that. I still love the feel of that 60D, so still going to keep that.
That's pretty good.
You know, that teddy bear thing you said made me think. What I usually do is I usually have a balloon that I have a little face drawn on. I use that for focus, because you can raise and lower it and it stays up.
That's a good idea.
Now, I saw one of your other exploits, Harold, this week. So what I could do in the future, not have me, just have a picture of a teddy bear, and then me talking that animate that you was doing.
That was me. That was a ploy to get Gross to like me. Yes.
The thing is, if you knew you was filming that, you would have done a wide shot and moved your arms, because then it moves the arms as well, but it can only move what it sees, can't it? So,
no, that wasn't live. That was already pre-recorded. Now you can go live with it.
Yeah.
But that was a pre-recorded just example of what you could do. And that's for actually a children's. We're actually planning on using that for a children's book collection that we're getting ready to write.
Yeah, and...
Hello, I'm Teddy Bear.
Well, it's more like, hey, I'm Teddy Bear. I think that's been done by Ted, or whatever that name was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it was AI, remember?
AI, oh yeah. Yeah.
The teddy bear on that. It went through the whole place. It spoke a bit like that. So.
Yep. No, we're planning just a series of kid books for probably about 5-year-olds. That should be fun. That's one of Leslie's projects, and we decided to help out and do it. And so I'll be writing them. She'll be coming up with ideas, and Harold's putting together the graphics on them.
Oh, are you going to do just books or just stills?
Well, no, she's got a whole mess of we're going to do books. She's got teddy bears actually planned on order from Hong Kong. She's got it all set up.
No, so I mean, are you going to do voiceovers for them? And
I
that?
don't know. She wants me to be the voice of Teddy. I go, I don't think so. Hello, I'm the voice of Teddy. I don't know. It doesn't sound right. You need a little kid voice. Hi, everyone. I'm Teddy, and we're going to learn all about Teddy things. I don't think so.
Yeah, well, we won't go there. It can get to be a bit sickening.
It could. Yeah.
We'll leave that as children's books at the moment.
That's what we're going to have, just children's books.
But that would be, because with the technology you've got these days, you can do so many great things rather than just a standard, so much interactions. Like I think we've said before, remember when that kid's CD went, let's see, Just Grandma and Me?
Oh, yeah. I love Just Grandma and Me.
And I said, the kids didn't care too much for it, but us adults, like I spent hours trying to find what happened.
Yeah.
And like, well, there's certain areas, if you clicked, it did something. Like we went fishing, and if you clicked something, it went beep. And then if you clicked something, an ocean liner would come
an
up.
ocean liner would come by. A whale would jump out of the ocean. It was cool. It was all about, people talk about them.
There's so many different places you could click to do all that, to find out what different things it did. But
it was brilliant. And that was 26 years ago.
Yeah.
26 years ago, 27 years ago, that was brilliant. And the bad thing is they haven't done anything better since.
No, it's really haven't improved it. And with the technology these days,
we could do so much more.
You think something like that would be the base storyline, and then it would take you off to the internet to do something and then come back.
Because I think it's a lot of fun, and I used to do it with my daughter. We gave it to her. She was about 1.5. She loved it, and then I kick her off because I liked it more.
Remember, back to the same time, there was a thing that really got a lot of people interested in kids into computers. Was where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? San Diego.
Yep.
And that sort of thing was so big. I'm amazed that nobody went further with that and did that game again, but with the use of the internet as well, because that was all done by itself without the internet.
Part of the problem is generationally, a lot of the younger folks today are not readers per se, much less readers than older generations were, and a lot of the games were very, like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, were very text-based. There was a lot of text, same as Zork and all of the other the other games back then. Today, I don't think they'd be. That's why adventure games have mostly disappeared. There still is a group of people who love them, but they're a small minority compared to what used to love those adventure games, because they're just not readers. You've got to have your imagination active, and that's really hard to do. And of course, half the kids are on Ritalin or some other kind of crappy drug, and that makes them even less imaginative. They're too busy going, what?
But it's the same thing like when we do, as you do for e-learning. Years ago, you had a lot of things for interactive e-learning, but people don't care these days. They just want to watch something for 2.5 minutes and have done with it.
I know. And then it's over and you go, that was interactivity? Wow, that was fun.
And also you get that from people, if you do have an interactivity, you just have people thinking, you're just wanting me to fail by making me click this button and all. And it just gets so annoyed with it sometimes.
Also, the sad thing is you ask people, what is e-learning? And they go, it's when you learn about ease. No. Well, why you call it e-learning?
Rick, I'll just say something about technology and how generations have changed. I just bought for my mother the other day from the postal service. I had a mobile phone, one of the old flip phones, the old flip phones.
Yep.
My mother's 91 and she can't handle swipe and all these for these new phones. So these ones, it rings, you open it up, and you answer it, and then you shut it, and it's closed and it's gone. Well, the other day, her phone rang when she couldn't get it, and one of the young carers, came in and said, would you like me to get that? And my mother said, yes. And she said, how do you answer it? And my mum, because she didn't know, she said, no, you just open it up.
Yep.
Oh. And then, of course, when she'd opened it up, she answered it, and then when she hung up, my mum said, but she did something wrong. She pressed a button. Had she broken it? Because she pressed the red button. And I thought, oh, God, the generation gap with technology. And I thought, but it was so funny that this person hadn't seen a flip phone.
You know what?
All they
You
do
know
was
what,
a
Jeff?
swipe or-
Even more scary. A friend of ours had a Toyota Corolla they used for driving the kids around and all this. So we got in the car. Actually, we had the Toyota Corolla that we used as a third car, and we got rid of it later. But anyway, we picked up Krista's cousins, if you will. They're like cousins. And they all sat in the car, and they go, how do we open the window? Because it was a roller. So I said, well, try to figure it out. So the kids are pushing on the handle, and nothing's happening. They go, it doesn't work. I go, try rolling it like this. And they're like, huh? What happened? It's opening the window. Oh, how odd. They couldn't figure it out. And they were, at the time, like 10 years old, going, I don't get it. We've never seen one of these. And it is so funny. That was just an old roll up and down window. And they're trying to press the handle button, and there's no button. It wasn't working. It is sort of funny what happens with tech and what people think they're doing with it. It's fun.
And it's also as well the way how they improve, like with the electric windows on cars. I remember they've been around for donkey's years, but I remember even in the late 60s when you had a car with electric windows, you had to hold your breath hoping that it would actually finish the job and get to the top. And it was always a nightmare. Think, is it going to work? Because I remember you'd press it,
Yep.
and and you would think, is it going to get there? So I know in the early days, my first car, the last thing I wanted was electric windows because they never seemed to work properly. Whereas now, I don't think you can get any. I haven't seen it. They're all electric, aren't they? You can't get
They
one.
are. Well, I used to have a Mazda 929. It was a sedan. It was really nice looking. And it had something I abhorred. They had automatic seat belts.
Oh, I've seen that.
And I had a habit of getting into the car quickly. So I'm in, and the minute I'm in and closing the door, I wasn't quite in all the way once, and the thing's like, it gets you in the throat. Now you're stuck in the car. You're trying to fight it back. You're trying to get your body. Oh, my gosh. That was the worst invention.
What is that? So it tightens on its own?
It tightens on its own. It gives you the strap, and then it goes. So you're literally a prisoner of your seatbelt.
Wow, that sounds safe.
It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And you just go, who came up with this idiocy? It's just really bad. But, I had one of the first shoe phones that was voice activated on an old Lexus LS400. So I get in, and we paid like $1,500 for that stupid phone. So it's there, and you would press the steering wheel, and he would say, call mom. And the phone would ring, and it would say, good morning, Relay Corporation. My mom does not work at Relay Corporation. So I'd say, okay, sorry, I called the wrong number. Let me call again. Call mom. Southern California Edison. Call Leslie. Hello, is this Rick? That's my mom. Oh, no. It never called who you wanted to call, ever. It was the worst. I go, $1,500 for this piece of crap. It was just crap. And it just never worked. It was just funny.
I guess they told you it was voice activated. They didn't say what it would do once
That's
activated.
right. Yeah, it just said, hey, you can talk to it. It just won't respond. I go, I already have a wife. I don't know.
It's a bit like a lot of those recorders that had the, for voice activated recording.
That's right.
It's no good because you usually miss the first part of it because
Yes.
somebody's speaking, I'll start.
Yep.
And then you miss the part of the conversation. So
Yeah, it's just funny. But, technology is always trying to get ahead of us, and sometimes always winds up a little behind. Just a little.
and now there's now they've got those things like the Alexa?
Oh, Alexa, yeah. Alexa's
But that-
stupid. I have an Alexa. I've got like 4 of them. I have it in my Kindles. I've got I've got 2 Alexas, and I go up to her and I'll say,
Don't
Alexa.
say the word.
yeah, and I'll say, Alexa, what is larger, the continent of Africa or China? And it'll say, I'm sorry, I don't know that. Okay. Alexa, how old is so-and-so? I don't know. Okay. Alexa, what river is the largest in the world? This one or that one? I don't have any idea. I'm sorry. Okay. Alexa, where is the Nile? The Nile is a river. Where? Where is the Nile located? The Nile is a river. I'm not sure. I mean, every so often you just get this complete, I don't know. it's not quite accurate. It's sort of kind of a bimbo response, what you get usually. It's like, well, don't you know anything? No. And then every so often it'll come up with an answer that just shocks you.
But what I don't get with all those devices, they're all there permanently listening to you, and people are worried about privacy, and they're putting all these things with cameras,
I know,
audio, and all that in all their houses, and
yep.
And you think when they're connected to the internet, well, there's always cases people can get in. It's just how do they get in? It's not, and when will they get in? It's not just because you put up with it, and I know that once you go on it, you expect that you're vulnerable. If you don't want that, well, you don't connect to the internet.
Right.
You don't have live things pointing at, like, have your camera switched on the network all the time, watching you, because if you can see it,
somebody else can.
Somebody else can. So
I have a theory that the only people really watching you are your dogs. They're in another bedroom going. I could just see that. One of our dogs, when we go to the bedroom, just go to bed, and she just gets up and leaves. She just leaves, just takes off. It's like, what's her problem? I don't know. The other one just sleeps, doesn't care who's in the bedroom, where you are, it just sleeps. But the first one's like, they're in my bedroom, they're bothering me, they just exist, and just leaves. It's just strange. Dogs are strange. But anyway, I think we are at the end of our time. We're actually way past the end of our time. But, well, that was fun. Let's see how it all turned out on Facebook. Next week we have a show, and then I'm gone the week after. We're going to be on vacation, but I think Harold's taking that show over, Jeff. So you and Harold can do a show the week after next.
Yep, okay. So no show next weekend, you said?
No, we have a show next week.
I'll show next week, okay.
Just the following week, I'll be gone for a week. We'll be in Hawaii.
Okay.
So trying to escape from the cold of Southern California. Isn't that weird? Actually, it's not that cold today. It's beautiful. But
yeah, it's pretty warm now, actually.
Well, for all you people watching on Facebook, welcome aboard to our show. We've been on for, 3-4 years already? I think at least 3-4 years. We've had about 150, 60 shows, 70 shows. And we have a lot of fun. We have guests on. We just haven't had a guest on today, per se, but we will have guests on shortly, and then we'll have some fun interactions with them. But definitely subscribe to the page, or what do? You become a friend a page. I think that's what you do, friend a page.
You can follow, I believe.
You can follow or friend us or whatever you want to do. Follow the page, friend us, whatever. And get involved. We'll have fun with conversations in the near future. We'll open it up for everyone, and we'll have a good time of it. We're going to have some events coming up in the e-learning world, in the presentation world. So we'll be doing all sorts of stuff on Facebook soon. So anyway, everyone, have a great weekend. We will see you all next week. And stay happy. Keep doing tech. Tech is a good thing to have. Jeff, have a great weekend. Harold, you too. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.